Hi guys, today I'm looking at a Yamaha CSF TA. So this essentially is a small guitar, and size-wise, just to give you an idea, the Taylor GS Mini, which is sort of known as more of a travel guitar in that sense, and it's a bit smaller than obviously the jumbo size guitars, etc. This is the same size. It's referred to as a parlour guitar, parlour size officially, and what you actually get with this is the Transacoustic system, the Yamaha Transacoustic system, which I'll be going through in a little bit more detail in a minute. But it also comes with a really good quality gig bag, similar sort of feel and build quality to the Taylor GS and those sort of guitars, and those sort of gig bags. Lots of storage space in the front, very secure and very safe for your guitar, which, you know, again, price wise and considering, and also the fact that they're designed to be carried around, is quite important to have that gig bag. And just to go through a few of the technical stuff, well, not technical, but the build quality. It's Yamaha. Yamaha are a very good quality company. Even their budget range is good quality. You know, Yamaha have been building instruments way before they were building motorbikes, and you know that's basically sort of shows all the way through their instrument range from the sort of early 1980s. It's early for me. Early 1980s sort of acoustic guitars, which essentially were the step up. There was a lot of cheaper guitars around at the time which weren't particularly good, and Yamaha came out and did these sort of more budget line acoustic guitars, which were just great. And then they went on to do things like the Pacifica electric guitar, which, you know, it was a solid bodied electric guitar, natural finish, with superb necks, and, you know, out of the box they were set up properly and 9 times out of 10 in tune. And it sort of moved everything on a little bit with regards to quality. Not everything has to be rubbish and excellent. There was that mid-range, and there's now a lot of companies following suit. What's it made of? Wood. There you go. No. It's made of, at this day and age, though, you have to be careful with some of the composite stuff. But anyway, this is made with a solid spruce top, which you can see, with a high gloss finish, rosewood fingerboard, you know, enclosed machine heads, 3 aside, standard sort of stock stuff that you'll get on these type of guitars. And the neck is satin finish, comfortable to play, very well finished off, with what I would say a low action for an acoustic guitar, which is good, but doesn't affect the resonance, so there's no need to hire it up to get any more sort of resonance or sound out of it. So overall, build quality excellent, gig bag great, going well so far. Let's have a look at this Transacoustic system. Now, the thing is that what we need to explain first and foremost, what is Transacoustic? On a basic level, Transacoustic uses the resonance of the guitar, and then it then adds, so essentially records it and then plays it back out again into the guitar, adding effects. So it gives you a bigger, deeper sound. What it doesn't do, which some people assume it will do, and you know, they get a Transacoustic and then they're all disappointed because, you know, the reverb's not really loud, and it's not got delay, and it's not got massive flanger effects. You know, like the lava guitars, some of the pro-end lava guitars have got effects processors built into them. That's a different kettle of fish. Yamaha are not going down that route. If you want that, obviously you've got pedals you can get for that sort of stuff if you need it. But what they're going for here is that acoustic playability. Now, this is with nothing switched on, okay? So just to give you an idea. Rich, clean tone. Absolutely ideal for miking up, as you would do with a lot of acoustic guitars. You get that sound, you get the resonance. Now, the Transacoustic system, on this, basically what you've got, there will be a little green light that comes on in a minute, and I'll show you that, but you've got the 3 controls on the top. you've got your battery compartment, which takes two AA batteries, and a 1/4-inch jack plug for plugging in for making it electroacoustic. The effects that you've got on here can be used electroacoustic, or you can just turn them off or switch them, turn them down, or whatever you want. But again, that's entirely up to you and the environment you're playing in. Now, switching it on, I'm going to go through these controls. It does come with a little plastic sort of cover around here, which I've taken off. Basically it just tells you what the effects are and what the actual control knobs do. Now it does say what they do, but it doesn't really go into a lot of detail about some of the things you can actually tweak with this. So anyway, basically to turn it on, you double tap the volume control, and the volume control is the one at the bottom here. Now what happens is inside there, I'm not sure if you can see, but a little green light comes on. I don't know if you can see that, but anyway, a little green light comes on. We're now activated the Transacoustic. Obviously the volume control is the amount of the effect that you have, and with the controls on this side you've got a chorus effect, and on this side you've got reverb. Now as I said, this is not, don't expect this to be huge and dynamic and it's going to, turns it into the Royal Albert Hall or something. This is subtle enhancement, I would call it, with Transacoustic systems. And it's not, you're not saying they're rubbish, I'm just saying that you don't expect the world with these when it comes to effects. But what you will get is a really nice sound, just acoustically unplugged in. To a point where, it's probably one of those sort of guitars that, from my perspective, I tend to find how good they are, or I think, from it is totally my opinion, that they're good because I play it for long. I sit there and I fiddle and I play and I'm just sort of noodling around or whatever it may be, whether that be ukuleles, guitars or anything. If it's not a particularly nice instrument to play, I just generally don't play it. I'll play it for a little bit, I'll get used to it, might review it, and then I'll put it away. Or send it back, this is one of those ones that I'm quite happy to sit there and just play. But anyway, let's get on with it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the volume full up so that you can hear it using these little microphones, and I'm going to turn the reverb full up first. Okay, so it's on, you can see the green light. If you can't, sorry, but basically, with the reverb full on, this is what it sounds like. That's just muted. If I do that without it, okay. Now a lot of people go, well, that just sounds like tinny noise. It does, but when you play open strings or strings with it, you're going to get a much better, deeper turn it off. This is just reverb, remember. So you get that sort of sound. When it's full on reverb, you're getting what they refer to as a hall sound, or hall reverb. And then you dial it back just past the 12 o'clock and you get less reverb. Again, referred to as a room reverb, but whatever. So you get the setting wherever you like. Now, bringing in the chorus. Now this is where you start to get that sort of resonance and ambience enhanced. Anyone that knows about effects and bits and pieces, obviously with the digital reverbs and reverb effects, you're essentially adding that echo to it, and it's normally sort of like an after effect or at the end of an effects chain, or in your guitar amp. Chorus is a modulation effect. Now, when done well and when it's a good quality chorus, what it's actually doing is it's actually manipulating. So it's modulating. It's manipulating the waveform. Bit scientific, sorry, but and what happens there is that, especially with chorus, is that you tend to use it, and especially on clean sounds, whether it's electric or acoustic, it sort of enhances the harmonics and the top end. So just to give you an idea, That's with the reverb. Turn the chorus on. And now you've got that. It's not full-on chorus. It's not, you know, where you know, if you've got an electric guitar or you've got a chorus pedal and you turn the depth right up and you turn the level right up and you get that sort of sound. Sorry for the poor impersonation of an effects pedal, but basically you're not going to get that. It is totally enhancing the sound. This microphone and doing this over, you know, this medium may not give you the full benefit of this, but essentially, by dialing that back a little bit, you get. Okay, now it's that sort of thing that when you're playing, it's there, you get used to it. When you turn it off, you notice it when it's gone. And that's something, you know, that's what I was talking about with regards to the subtleness of this. Okay, but what you're actually doing is, you know, you've got to remember this isn't plugged in, this is just acoustic, and you know that to me is great. It actually, you know, it is that sort of, it pushes it to that next level where you just sit there and you'll just sit there wanting to play. Now, just one thing, well not one thing, I'm probably going to ramble on about other things as well, but basically there is another thing as well with this, is that a lot of people go, yeah, okay, fair enough, but you've got no EQ, you've just got volume, you've just got, and you've got chorus and reverb. True, that's what's accessible on the top, but, and it's not on the little plastic guidance, I believe it's in the manual somewhere, but in there, obviously, as I said before, you'll see on the circuit board and a little green light. Now, EQ. With the acoustic guitar, and when you plug this in, one of the important things with acoustic guitars is having EQ, because it's not just to make it sound better, it's more to do with essentially being able to control the feedback. And feedback happens with guitars, especially acoustic guitars, quite a lot. And what that is essentially where the sound of the guitar is coming out and then it's looping back in, and it's causing a feedback loop, as they refer to it. Now with acoustic guitars, that is normally mid-range, or what they refer to as mid-range, and you tend to find on some of the acoustic effects pedals and various things a feedback cancellation button, or it learns the feedback frequency, and then it, what they refer to as a notch filter, takes that frequency down to help stop the instrument from feeding back, or a sound engineer does it for you. But anyway, so with this, what you do is you hold the volume button down for 5 seconds, roughly about 5 seconds, and what will happen inside the guitar is that little green light starts to flash. Now, what you do with that is once that's flashing, you then use the volume control to add mid. Hear that? It went up. And you're turning it counterclockwise to add the mid EQ. But you get that, and you get a sweet spot. And then what you do is you can either leave that and it will just flash, and once you're happy with that, it will leave those settings as they are. Now if you're getting feedback and you're holding it down, you know what you can do is obviously you just dial it until the feedback stops, and that's essentially, you leave it, and it saves automatically. And it remembers it as well, that's the important part. So when you plug it back in or when you turn it on the next time, it will remember the settings you last saved it as. You can also save it by just holding down the volume button for a period of time and it goes back into that mode. But ultimately, you know, the main thing really is that it has got that facility in it. It's just a matter of actually going through the manual. Everyone knows that people don't like reading manuals, but if you're like me, I never read them. I prefer to find out things myself, either on YouTube and reviews, not too dissimilar to this one. But when you get that sweet spot of that EQ, it pushes and enhances the effects as well. Yeah, so just to give you a little bit of a blast of something a little bit more full on, just so that you get an idea of what this instrument sounds like. And there you have it. To turn it off, you hold it down for a little bit and then just double click. It'll turn itself off as well if it's not being used for a little while, so it's all very intelligent. But overall, if you're looking for a good guitar, this is it. It's ideal for if you're just sort of playing in your home or studio or live, any of those. But it just gives you that little bit of an edge above and beyond the sort of the Martin range of these sort of mini guitars and the Taylor GS mini range. They're great guitars. I'm not disputing that. Don't start shouting at me if you've got one of those. They are great guitars, but this one just pushes it a little bit further. Some might say it's not a Martin, it doesn't play as well, or it doesn't feel as good, or whatever. That's each to their own. But by having the Transacoustic system, it sort of, from a sound perspective, pushes it to that next level. Now, I'm not saying it's cheap either. This is the other thing as well. If you're going to go out and buy these online, and again, this is the sort of stuff that you can buy online. Yamaha, as I said earlier, is very consistent. So I wouldn't at all expect anything other than if I ordered another one of these or something to be sent to me, that it would not come out of the box and look and feel the same. I'm confident with that. So it is something you can buy online with confidence. And they're about 700 something. There's probably a retail price of $799 or something, but I think whether or not the actual Yamaha, I think the Yamaha London store sells them online for about 720 or something, free delivery. But it's not cheap. I'm not saying that that's affordable or cheap or in any way or whatsoever. But if you are going to spend that sort of money, this definitely should be up there with consideration, because of the Transacoustic system. Probably alone, it just gives it that edge, from my point of view anyway. The other thing as well, is that it's the finish and even down to the inlays around the sound hole, it just looks and feels like a great instrument. It's very well built, and ideal for any sort of situation in that sense. The neck is wide enough, the action's low, as I said before, and the neck's very well finished off with the frets at the side. So overall, yeah, if you're thinking about spending this sort of money, great. You'll probably find them second-hand as well, as long as they're in good condition and they haven't been trashed. Again, you're still going to get that consistency and good instrument. But the Yamaha CSF TA parlour size. They do a jumbo size version of this as well, but I think this is probably the most popular because of its size. But it's got, although it's a parlour size, with that transacoustic system, it sounds like a bigger guitar. So great overall, really, really nice. Thanks for listening, and hopefully if it's been useful, subscribe, share, donate, all the usual stuff, and see you soon.